May I have your attention, please? This is Principal Wolchek. I am deeply saddened to have to tell you that early this morning, your classmate, Laura Palmer, was found dead. This is a terrible moment for all of us.
What is up, everyone? Silent Haven here. Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be kind of going out of bounds from what we usually do, which is video game related soundtracks. We're going to be doing one of the most influential TV shows of all time, Twin Peaks.
Oh, Diane, I almost forgot. Got to find out what kind of trees these are. They're really something.
Now, the reason I chose to do this show specifically, it's because this just has such a vibe about it, and it's really about the atmosphere for me when it comes to any kind of media. And this TV show nails atmosphere and takes you to a whole nother world, and that has a lot to do with the music. Music is everything for video games, movies. You're not going to get a lot across without the music, and this soundtrack, chef's kiss. As soon as you hear it after you watch the show, it just takes you to that world. I first watched this show about 3 or 4 years ago. My brother was a huge fan, and I never watched it, and I finally thought, okay, I'm just going to watch it. So I finally did, and damn. The first 2 seasons are perfection. They have the right amount of like normalness to for anyone to enjoy. And then season 3 goes way off the rails, and it's like super David Lynch movie kind of vibe, which a lot of people are not down with. And honestly, I prefer the first 2 seasons presentation. I feel like the 3rd season, there wasn't a lot of what I loved about Twin Peaks, which was just the characters interacting with each other. There was a whole lot of new elements added. That's an unpopular opinion. People love the 3rd season, and I feel like I might just have to watch it again, kind of deal, to get more into it. But if you're a fan of good shit and you've never seen Twin Peaks, I suggest you stop this video and go watch it, and then come back and watch this video. But the soundtrack for Twin Peaks was composed by Angelo Badalamenti, who worked with David Lynch previously on Blue Velvet, not too long before this. Produced by him and David Lynch, so David Lynch had a lot to do with the decisions. Like, they worked pretty closely in a collaborative effort. You could watch a lot of videos and interviews out there talking about their creative process. It's really interesting. And that classic video of Angelo describing the creation of Laura Palmer's theme. Amazing video. If you haven't seen it, go watch that.
Beautiful, Angelo. Oh, that's tearing my heart out. I love that. Just keep that going. Now she's starting to leave. So fall down. Keep falling.
Yeah, it just shows the real emotion and passion that they really had when composing. All of the scores were written on a Fender Rhodes by Angelo, but when it came to actually recording the soundtrack, they hired musicians to play. One of the main elements of the whole soundtrack is synthesizers. And in the mid to late 80s, there were a lot of innovations with digital synthesizers, like the DX7 or the D-50. So that was what was utilized on this soundtrack. So the keyboardist that actually played the synthesizers on this was a guy named Kenny Landrum. You find a lot of information online about what he used. There is a Reddit post where he answered a couple of questions that people had, and I'll just read this here. A Prophet T8 was the main controller, although not used all that much as a sound source. a Yamaha DX7 and TX7 were used for all electric piano sounds. A lot of the strings were a combo of two Roland synths, the MKS70 and the D550. An emulator 2 was used for the guitar and many other samples. So yeah, the Yamaha DX7 came out in 1983, and then the next couple of years, the TX7 was released. But those were used for the electric piano sounds on this soundtrack. For more of the synth pad and string sounds, he's saying he was using a combination of the MKS70, which is a rack unit version of the JX-8p, mixed with the D550, which is the Roland D-50 rack unit version. And so those two, he's saying he combined, which is interesting. I guess you could say the Prophet T8 was also used, because he's saying it wasn't used all that much, which means it was used. You can throw the Prophet T8 in there as well, and he used the emulator 2 for sounds. More specifically on the guitar sound for the main theme of Twin Peaks, he used that with his own sample. So Twin Peaks is also known for that twangy guitar sound, 50s Duane Eddy guitar tone, and we're gonna get into that as well to get that guitar sound. So yeah, kind of interesting. There's a whole lot of gear here. It's a lot easier to find information on this soundtrack as opposed to some of the ones I've done. For Resident Evil, it's kind of few and far between for information, but I do not own any of these pieces of gear, sadly. So we're going to be using VST versions of all these sounds, so you too can play these sounds for yourself if that's something you want to do. All right, without further ado, let's start getting into some of these sounds. Let's jump into Ableton and I'll show you what it's all about. Let's go. Okay, we're in Ableton. We're going to be going through some of the sounds here that I was able to find. We're going to start with the classic Twin Peaks theme. The main element of this theme, of course, is that guitar sound. Now, doing some research in that same Reddit post where he was answering questions, he did touch on the guitar tone, not specifically the tone, but the sample, excuse me. I remembered this sort of Duane Eddy twangy guitar sample I had on my emulator too. I also realized while there were low notes from strings, pianos, etc., there weren't a real bass part on the record. So I said to David, I have this sort of guitar sound I can play in the bass register. He said, let's hear it. And then I played the first 3 notes and he said, that's it, let's put it down. That's my David Lynch voice. So that's the bass twangy guitar pluck that you hear. So yeah, in this Reddit post he says he has it. This is a while ago. And so I reached out to a few of the Redditors that commented, trying to get that guitar sample because he offered it and via contact file. Sadly, no one responded. Okay, hold on. At the time of editing this video, the dude just responded and gave me the sample. Holy shit. Okay, listen to this. That's it. Wow, that is the sample. It blows mine out of the water. Like, mine sounds like dog shit compared to it, but so for this video, I did not have the sample. So if you're hearing, I'm still going to show you what I made myself. That is the legit sample that he used in the emulator too, which is awesome. If there's a mixed version of it playing in the video, then I just added this one, but for the footage that you're going to watch, I did not have it. So, all right, back to the video. So, I thought, well, I can't find it. Why don't I make my own? Using my cherry red Epiphone Dot recorded into my tube preamp microphone amplifier just to give it a little bit more of a hot signal. And then I played it through a bunch of plucks just on the open E. And then I sampled that through the emulator too. So here is the Emulator 2 plugin by Arturia. And so I just loaded in my own sample here. And from there it goes into the Helix. It sounds all right, but I still, when comparing it to the original, it just didn't have that hit. So I added 2 more elements, and I managed to find on the Roland JV-1080, there is a patch called Twin Strats, and with that, I put it through the same amp signal as the guitar sample that I recorded. Not bad, but it still was missing just a little bit of that bottom you can hear in the original. So I added I used ePiano 2 just to give it a little bit of, just to fill it out a little bit. So yeah, it's obviously not the sound, but I think it's pretty close. It's kind of hard to replicate that exact tone because it really comes down to the guitar and the recording of the actual sample. All right, and that is the main Rhodes sound. It is the DX7 ePiano. Now, in the actual recording, it could have been the TX7 or DX7. Who knows? We'd have to hear it from the man himself to know for sure. But that's what I came up with for this video, so. Now let's get into some of the pad string sounds that I used for this. At that first section of the song, there's kind of like more of a brassy synth sound, at least to my ear. So what I did, he did say he was using combos of strings. So what I did was use the JX-8p as well as the D-50 synthesizer. And to get the JX-8p, you can use Roland Zenology. They have the official patches, but you can also use, there's a good VST called PG8X. If you want to download that, that's free, and it emulates this synthesizer. But for this combo, I used the soundtrack patch on the JX-8p, and then on the D-50, which is another VST by Roland, I used the Velocity Brass 2. So yeah, those two together, I find, kind of recreate that sound from the song. So that's the first string sound, and then later on you kind of hear more of a washed string sound come in, and for that I used the low strings patch. that is the main string sound. And again, that's low strings. It's the beautiful pad, lush strings. It's euphoric 80s pad sound. It's really, real good. So then later on in the track, there's kind of more, there's a denser string sound that plays. And for that, I'm not exactly sure what was used. Was it just doubling up? But I tried out a string sound from the Emulator 2 over top, as well as using the soundtrack patch again, excuse me. And so those three together, when it kind of washes with everything else, this is how that sounds. Yeah, super cool sound. It's beautiful. Beautiful strings. And that's basically it for the main theme. The drums, I'm assuming they use real drums because there is a credited drummer, and a lot of the other songs are using real drums. So for that, I just use some Roland samples for the ride and the kick drum that plays. But and I thought I could hear a bass at those open sections, like the building parts. So I added a P bass sample just to fill out a bit of the low end. Yeah, now we're gonna do Laura Palmer's theme. You know what this one's all about. This is the embodiment of the show. So yeah, it's kind of hard to nail this patch because I think they're using a combination of a few different elements. So I did use the PG8X for this, and I used the cello because I feel like I can hear like a brassy cello sample kind of deal in the actual track that give it kind of that horn sound almost. So with a lot of these VSTs and kind of reissues, you don't exactly know which version of those, the hardware, they're replicating. Because I know the JX-8p has different variations of the ones that came out. So I don't know which, and obviously they're using the rack version. I don't know if that makes a difference. But for whatever reason, the best way to achieve the sound I found is through the JV 1080 under the pad warmth. And this patch is actually called soft pad, but there's also a D-50 brass. So it shares a lot of the DNA from those sample libraries and sounds used. So I used a mix of that with the PG8X cello selection. Yeah, and I think that sounds pretty close. That's the best I could do. Let me know if you guys know the exact patch you used. I know people say it's soundtrack, but this is basically that patch updated in the Roland JV 1080. I know that's not what they used, but that's the way I could achieve the tone the best. All right, next up we're gonna do Into the Night, that main Rhodes piano sound. It is once again the DX7, and it is EPN01. This is the patch. I'm gonna attempt to play it here. Something like that, right? Yeah, I'm butchering it, but that's the basic patch. EPN01, superb. That noir kind of sound. Yeah, so that's Into the Night, that main key sound. All right, moving on. Okay, so next up here is just a little example of the usage of the D-50 kind of classic patches, and that is in this track called Owl Cave. It's basically just a track from the actual show. Yeah, that's just something you hear in that track, and it's the Living Kaleidoscope patch, and I mixed it with a Bright Day patch. It's just that classic Roland digital synth sound. Moving on, we are going to be doing a little bit of a little more guitar. All right, this is good. We're just gonna go over a guitar tone in the Nightingale. I'm using the Epiphone DOT 335. Just a cheap Epiphone guitar, but it sounds pretty decent. I'm playing it on the neck pickup. Once again, I'm using the Helix, which I just got. Bit of EQ back right into the Hot Springs guitar pedal, going into a Fender Deluxe vibrato amp. Those are the settings, and I'm using a 57 mic. The 60 bias trim, also pretty much the same settings as the intro track, but I added an acoustic sim, which is kind of the secret sauce to make it at least give this guitar that special twang that the guitar has in the track. The acoustic sim, and those are the settings. So that's just at the end of the chain, and it kind of gives it this really cool dynamic sound. And so that's pretty close, pretty decently close. It's so that's basically that kind of 50s twang sound that they replicate in that song, and in a few other tracks as well. It's just the tremolo reverb that really gives it that sound. But here's with and without that acoustic sim. It really does give the guitar some character here. Here's without. Here's with. So it really gives it some bright clarity. Alright, if you stuck around to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll do more TV show or movie soundtracks if that's something you guys are interested in as well. I do have other games I'm planning on doing, like Code Veronica. But someone did mention X-Files. That is another show that I do enjoy, and I could possibly do a video on that if you guys are interested. Just let me know. Drop some suggestions of what else you would like me to cover on this channel. Check out my EP if you haven't already, The Night You Disappeared, on streaming, and the CD's coming soon. Make sure you guys subscribe and like this video if you did enjoy it, and also hype it if you can. That helps boost the video. It's kind of a stupid thing. They just keep adding all this different ways to do it, but yeah, hyping does help the channel, or the video. So if you like this video, hype it. Alright guys, until next time, peace.